Hi, I'm Roger Ailes. This is Straightforward. Now, normally we don't do artists on this show, but I want you to stay with me through this intro because this is going to fascinate you. This is an artist who went to high school, music and art, won the Hallgarten Award Scholarship to the National Academy of Fine Arts and Design and a Guggenheim Award, studied under one of the country's finest portrait painters, Robert Phillip. 1994, presentation of his artwork, induction into the Smithsonian National Gallery, and his artwork is at the Gravely Galleries in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. He's okay as an actor as well. His name's Billy D. Williams, terrific artist and not bad actor. So he's with us tonight. Stay with us. He made his Broadway debut at the age of 7. Soon he retired after that, went back to being a child. And he attracted attention with his Emmy Award-winning performance in Brian's Song. Captured the hearts of the ladies in Lady Sings the Blues. And he's coming up on a CBS movie, too. His name is Billy D. Williams. It's a real honor.
Well, thank you. It's
I've
nice
been a
to see
big
you.
fan of yours.
Thank you very much.
I really enjoy your work. You spend that much time painting, do you?
Oh, yeah, a great deal of my time. It's something I've been doing for all of my life, actually, but I've been sort of procrastinating. But in the last 6 years, I really got into it the way I should have gotten into it over the years.
Did we show those pictures at the beginning? And we did. Did you see that stuff? That's really terrific. If a guy walked into one of those stores and bought one of your paintings, what would it cost?
Well, it's very difficult to talk about prices. I mean, it depends.
I know it's hard, but I want to buy one, so I got to know.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's good stuff.
We got good prices. They range.
You put Billy D. Williams on the bottom so people know it's.
Yeah.
Is that oil paint or acrylic? What is that?
I work mostly in acrylic, but sometimes I combine oils and acrylics.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You worked under a portrait painter. Do you do portraits?
Robert Phillip. I started as a portrait painter, actually. I love doing portraits, yeah.
Why acting? I mean, did that just happen?
Well, my life is pretty much like, I would say, happenstance. I mean,
whatever came along, you did. It happened. Somebody gave you a paintbrush?
Well, I started.
Or somebody had given you a gun?
No, I don't think I would have done anything with a gun. No.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I was very happy when when I was being inducted into the Army. I would have been in Vietnam, as a matter of fact, but my son was born just in time, so I'm quite grateful to him. Yeah, I didn't have the experience of having to shoot anybody, which is a very.
Could you have done it, and would you have gone?
Well, yeah, I think I would have done it. I mean, I think I was like most guys in those years. I think a lot of them
I missed it I was out of school by that time. By the time they started doing it, I was old, and I immediately went out and got gray hair to try to look older, so they left me alone. But I suppose we all would have done it if we had to.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Probably. Most of us.
Are you a patriot?
Yeah, I guess so.
Are you?
Yeah.
Has America been good to you?
Well, I think for me, America is quite a unique country. I mean, it's the most unique country in the history of the world. First of all, you got people from every conceivable difference you can possibly think of, and religious differences, cultural differences, national differences, language differences, and for the first time in the history of the world, they have to create some sort of a dialogue between each other, which is a very difficult thing to do. But I think it is absolutely the most unique country in the history of the world. It's a Mickey Mouse country in many ways, I'll say that. We were all raised on Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, right. It's cartoon country. We don't have what we did is we built up a culture in 200 years, and now we're destroying it. It wasn't all that great after the first 200 years. We should have kept trying to.
Well, maybe we're just simply going through I always felt there was back in the 60s, for instance, when everybody was talking revolution, I kept thinking that it was really going to be a slow transition, a transitional period. And obviously, I think that what creates this transition is due to, I think, the industrial high-tech computerized age that we're living in. I mean, it's altering our lives, and it's pretty clear. I mean, it's changing a lot of things. But I'm a bit of an optimist. I think.
I am too. I think that's useful.
I think you have to be. Yeah. You should be.
Do you think it's worse for African Americans today than it was in the 50s, 60s? I had Dr. Wyatt on from a Harlem church last night, and he said, for some it's better, for some it's worse. Have you been, because you've been in show business, where race relations has always been more casual and more open, I think, than in some segments of our society?
Well, I don't know about all that, but anyway.
Really, you think? I remember the days of Nat King Cole when he had to go in the back door. I mean, remember those days? But those days are gone. But what he said is that he thought that it was really worse today than before. What's your experience?
Well, I think as long as there's a certain kind of thinking that prevails, I think, and as long as it's a thinking that is dominant for the most part, then you won't see any real major changes. Of course, I think it's pretty clear that what happens in any situation, it depends on the economics, what's going on economically, what's going on politically, what's going on socially. I mean, there are so many facets and a myriad of things that contribute to whatever actions are being taken. So I think you just can't. There's no
hard to
simple,
generalize
there's
it,
no,
yeah.
there's no simple way of talking about it.
Let me say something. I once met Marcello Mastroianni. You're known as a ladies' man in the films. You're a good-looking guy. You always got these women. You and I have had it easy, because we look, we're sort of gorgeous, and there's no, we just had it easy in our life. But
He's one of my favorite actors, by the way.
He's a wonderful guy.
Oh,
but he
he's
once
great.
said to me, I said, "What's been the biggest problem with your career?" And he says, "The biggest problem is when I get in a room alone with a woman, because she thinks I'm that guy on the screen." He said, "I really want to just sit around in my underwear and have a sandwich, and I'm not that great a lover. But on the screen, I'm this great lover." Do you ever have that problem privately, or are you really as good as you are on the screen? I mean, that's...
No, I don't really think too much of it. I don't spend a great deal of my time thinking about it.
I just thought there was a great comment.
Whatever happens, happens.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he sort of said that too, but he said.
But the thing is, he was a great character actor. That was the thing that I always liked about him.
But
that's how I see myself, as a character actor. I don't really see myself as this person who's
leading man all the time.
No, I mean, if it happens that way, fine, great. But I love playing characters. I mean, that's
It's interesting to see Paul Newman, who's still a sex symbol. Now they're saying 70, and he's got all this publicity, and he's out there. But the guy still looks great. Are you going to be doing sexy roles at 70, or?
Well, why not?
It'll be a character role in those days.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're 70,
Listen, I think if you have a certain persona and if it works for you, you go with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're always at the same time, I think, displaying other things about your life and what you're capable of doing.
When a casting director says, either get me Billy D. Williams or get me a Billy D. Williams type, what are they saying?
I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, well, I don't know what casting directors are saying either. They never know.
Well, I think it's probably because if it's very difficult to talk about this kind of stuff. I mean, if you have a certain success doing a certain kind of thing and looking a certain kind of a way.
You're afraid you'll look immodest to sit there and talk about it? Is that it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you strike me as a very self-effacing, modest guy.
Well, I think I'm a walking absurdity, so.
Really? There's a whole side of you that the public doesn't know. They see you as this kind of cool, collected guy, and you're really kind of...
No, I see myself as a kind of an eccentric, I think, and I think it's a good way to go through life.
Do you really? Do you see things kind of ajar? You look like you got a sense of humor. You're kind of amused by what you see in life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Are you?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know how long this clip is. Do you know what clip we're going to show? You got a CBS movie coming up,
Yeah,
and I want to
called
get
Falling
this.
for You.
Do you know where the clip is, or can you set it up?
I have no
Let's
idea.
look at it. We'll talk about it afterward if we have time before the break. But this is coming up when?
The 21st of February, I believe.
Okay, 21st of
Sweeps.
February, Billy D.
Sweeps.
Williams, and Falling for You. Plays a cop, by the way.
No, you want revenge for what happened to your mother, but it's too late.
He broke down our door. He raped her, and then he killed her. And I saw it all.
Meg, I know what it is to hang on to something so ugly that it rots you from inside out. Nothing good comes from it.
Ooh, powerful. Tell me about that cop. You said interesting cop, right?
Yeah, I think he's a pretty interesting guy. He's a kind of an Inspector Poirot with a little bit of Sherlock Holmes. He's a sort of a methodical kind of a guy who's out looking for this serial killer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, has your acting style changed? You seem almost a little more laid back today than you did in your early days.
Well, I thought I was more laid back in those years.
Did you really?
Yeah. I think as you get older, you become more garrulous and a lot more open about things. I think you're not.
Is that true in your real life too? You're freer and you can talk about things?
Yeah.
Okay. We have to take a break or no? Where are we on this break? About 30 seconds. How much time do you spend painting and how much time acting? And how much time just for you doing something else?
Well, I spend a lot of time painting. I generally paint from about 8 o'clock at night until about 6 o'clock in the morning, religiously, every single night for the last 6 years.
Wow.
When I'm not working as an actor, that's what I'm doing. When I'm working as an actor, I'm also always busy doing something with the art.
Okay, we'll be back. We got to take a break here. We're with Billy D. Williams. Stay with us.
So dramatic. So bad. Ailes is where you are. You want my arm to fall off?
Take the money! Take it, Bill!
I worked with her back in the 60s. Diana Ross. I had her daughter on. She's a beautiful girl. Did you ever meet her daughter?
Which one?
Uh,
Rhonda or
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rhonda's singing. She's a
Yeah,
very
she's
good
singing.
singer.
I had her on as a singer. Yeah, she was here.
She's a very good singer.
Very good. Very nice, too. I mean, really.
She went to school with my daughter is going to Brown University, so they were, Rhonda I think just recently, oh no, she recently graduated.
Really?
Graduated.
She was on this show, as
the
a matter
other
of
one,
fact.
yeah.
And I reminded her I worked with her mom. Diana Ross has always been a favorite of mine. It looked like you two had great chemistry in that film. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We hit it off the moment we saw each other. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
What happened to your career because of that film?
Well, all of a sudden I became this sort of romantic figure on the screen, which was okay with me.
Did you get a lot of mail?
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of mail? Do you get good mail or weird
yeah,
mail?
no,
I
no.
get mail about once a day that says they want to kill me, and other people say, you know, you're a good-looking guy for a
there's
little
a mix.
overweight.
There's always a mix, but most of the time I think it's always been pretty favorable.
Has it?
Yeah.
Do you
But
get
you
hate?
get a lot of strange things happening.
You do get
yeah,
strange
yeah.
things. A lot of nuts running loose out there,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Let me go back for 1 second to your early days. Tell me about your mom. Your when you were a kid. You went on the stage at age 7.
Yeah. Well,
Was that an accident, or did your mother? Was you have a stage mom? Or?
No, well, she was studying to be an opera singer when she was young and for many years, and she had aspirations to go into show business. But I think my sister and I have a twin sister. My sister and I were a lot more important to her, so she spent all of her time with us. Thank goodness for us.
Thank
the
God,
two of
huh?
us.
What do you think about
She's a
that?
wonderful human being. She's
still.
Oh, she's still with. Yeah, she's still
with you?
here, and she's just absolutely wonderful.
Where's she live?
In California.
Does she?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
She's
that
the
state
best.
could fall into the ocean. You know, every time I go, I was out there last week, and I mean, I've never. The monsoons in India were nothing like that. California. I mean, mudslides.
But I loved it.
drive-
Though.
Do you
I
like
thought
that?
It was very exciting for me. It was a nice change.
Do you like danger?
Well, to some degree, I think. Yeah.
Are you an earthquake theorist? I mean, do you think it's going to just crack off one day and float out toward Hawaii?
I don't know. I
No?
have no idea.
Not worry about
No,
that.
I don't want to think.
Are you a religious man?
I would say spiritual more than religious.
Tell me about that.
Well, I think that I tend I don't ignore the fact that there is a supreme entity that exists in our lives, and I don't think anybody can really question that. And if anybody questions it, I think then they're really not looking at things and putting things together and putting it in perspective. But as far as religion is concerned, I think if you look at it historically, I think it's all pretty much based on a lot of politics. Mm-hmm. A lot of people enter the arena, and all of a sudden they begin playing it this way, playing it that way, and they can get very,
God
very
gets kind of
confusing.
pushed aside, and they start operating
Yeah.
for themselves in
Yeah,
there. Is that
yeah,
what you mean?
I think that's what usually happens,
That's interesting. Tell me about your father.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Tell me about your father.
My father was a wonderful man who didn't have very much education, worked all of his life to keep the family together, used to work maybe 2 or 3 jobs, was by profession a chef, but one of the most extraordinary people I ever met in my life. As a matter of fact, I remember once I was shooting a movie in Brooklyn. I was shooting Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone, and we were shooting doing location work in Brooklyn, and this police captain, an Italian police captain, came to my trailer, and because my father worked in Brooklyn, and he said to me, you know, I came in here, he knocked on my trailer door, and he came in, and he says, you know, I came in here not because of who you are, but I came in here because I knew your father, and I loved your father.
Isn't that nice?
And he would periodically come back and forth for a couple of weeks, and one day he just came in and said to me, you're okay. And that was a great I felt was a great compliment to my father, because he was very well loved by everybody.
What was your dad's greatest quality?
he was simple. He was a simple man who never put on airs. I think I sort of adopted that particular thing from, because I always admired that in him. I mean, he never was pretentious. You know, he was always just a very nice guy.
Isn't that great? I
Very
love that about
generous.
my dad. I remember once he was watching Gunsmoke on television, sitting in the living room in his underwear. We lived in this lower middle class, and the mayor was out campaigning. Came to the door. My mother went nuts, ran around, said, "Oh God, you get dressed. The mayor's out there." And he said, "Screw it, come in and watch Gunsmoke with me." He wouldn't get up and get dressed. He said, "Come on in, Mr. Mayor, sit down." He made him sit there and watch Gunsmoke with him. I said, "You know, I admire my dad for that. He's got guts."
No, I
He
like
just-
that. I like that
Yeah.
in a person. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Who was the biggest influence in your life, probably?
My folks, my
Yeah?
family, my sister, my mother, my father, my grandmother, they were the greatest influence in my
Family's
life. As a
everything,
matter of
isn't it?
fact, whenever I think of my origins, I always think in terms of...
How do we get this country back to sort of simple families sticking together?
It's going to be tough, I think, because again, as I said earlier, I think it's, you know, we're living in this sort of industrial, high-tech, computerized age, and I think that is like the evil in some sense in the world, because it really pulls everybody away from each other. And
There's no emotion in
unfortunately,
it. That's the
there's no
biggest problem
emotion.
with it.
That's the problem. yeah.
That is the biggest problem. We have actor and artist Billy D. Williams. I want to show some more of his paintings when we come back. This guy's really good. Stay with us, and we'll be right back after these messages. I've often said when I looked at paintings, you know, that looks easy. That does not look easy. How long does it take you to do one of those paintings?
Well, it takes. Well, I'm at this period in my life where I have to just get a lot of things out. So I don't really think about the time it takes. You know, sometimes I'll spend a week on a painting. Sometimes I'll spend months on a painting, and sometimes I'll start a painting, then come back to it. I'll start something else. Sometimes I'll work about 3 paintings at one time. You know.
What are you trying to get out? What are you facing in your, where are you, probably in your 50s?
Yeah, I'm 57.
57, you're
Yeah.
saying, okay, now I've had a great life,
Yeah, I
pretty
bet.
lucky, good family.
Yeah. Well, there are things that you want to find out about yourself. You know, I think mortality.
What don't you know about you?
Well, I want to find out how brilliant I am.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you today?
I don't know, but I'm working hard to find out. You know. No, I think you just want to know. You want to know if you go through life. I don't like the idea of deluding myself. Like
Right,
a lot of
right,
people
right.
walk through life deluding themselves. But I really know that I have this ability, and I know that I have abilities. And
Do
I
you have
wanna find- I
abilities
wanna
that are
explore.
untapped? What do you think you haven't been able to do that you really know is still inside you?
Well, I know that for certainly, the painting is very important, and certainly I want to continue the acting. The acting is very important to me. I feel that there are roles, there are things that I haven't done that I would like to do with the acting. But to me, there is really no difference between acting and painting. Painting and acting is the same thing. It's just a matter of using different tools. As an actor, you use your 5 senses. You know, the seeing sense, smelling sense, tasting, hearing, touching. And you use makeup, you use all of the accoutrements that necessary to create a character. I think painting is because for me there's a lot of drama in my paintings.
Sure
And
is. Yeah.
because I play with dark and light, and that's what they call the chiaroscuro school of painting.
Chiaroscuro.
Yeah. And so I play around with that a lot, so that the drama comes through with that, through color, through the use of geometrical shapes and forms.
Do we have
and so
a
on.
self-portrait? Did you do a self-portrait?
Yeah, well, that one is the self-portrait I did is now in the Smithsonian. This one.
What were
This is
you?
Louis McKay in Lady Sings the Blues.
Oh, that's
See, originally what I did,
Okay.
I did a self-portrait when I was asked by this Dr. Fritz Daguerre to submit a painting to the National Portrait Gallery because he had found out that I had done a portrait when I was 19 years old, and he had seen the portrait, and he wanted me to do something more current. So I did that, and I came up with this huge painting of myself, sort of depicting my whole life. And a very interesting painting, but he thought it was too big, so he asked me to do this small piece, and so they went through committee, and they accepted it, and now I'm part of it. And then in February I have to go, and they're going to make an official announcement.
That's terrific.
You know, so I feel pretty proud about that.
Okay, well, listen, we're going to wrap it up there. I've got William Bratton coming up in just a moment. He's the head of the New York Cops. You just played a cop in the CBS film, which is coming up in February,
And
called Falling for You.
Falling for You. And then there was another one I did for HBO called Triple Crosses, where I play another kind of an FBI guy.
FBI guy.
Yeah.
You get a lot of straight roles these days where you look very dignified, and they passing you as a crazy guy yet?
No, it's not a crazy guys. They're interesting guys.
Yeah?
They're very interesting characters. I always try to make them very interesting, you know, give them a lot of color.
Well, you're, I think, a great actor. I've always admired your work, but I also think you're a terrific painter.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
Okay.